إنما هو التوحيد وتوحيد العبادة بالذات.
Okay, so anyway, it means that the emphasis now on finding the authentic narrations. So some of the most important early collections of hadith followed what we call the musnad format. The musnad format is a collection of the hadith arranged by the companion who transmitted that hadith. So when you look at a musnad collection, and I gave you two examples of Abu Dawud at-Tayalisi, this is not the famous Abu Dawud that most people know of from the hadith collections, Abu Dawud as-Sijistani, this is the other one. This Abu Dawud at-Tayalisi, early scholar of the 2nd century, right? He dies 203. He put together a musnad collection. And of course, Ahmed ibn Hanbal, the more famous hadith scholar, dies 241, 855. He put together a famous musnad collection. And when you look at the musnad collection, it's going to be arranged by the companion. Right? So Imam Ahmed ibn Hanbal has the book of Abu Bakr, and he gives all the hadith reported by Abu Bakr. Or then he goes to the book of Umar, then the book of Uthman, and the book of Ali, and he goes through all the different companions, the wives of the Prophet, and so forth and so on. Right? And here the important point is, this is the work of scholars who are collecting hadith. Right? And one of the criteria used by Abu Dawud at-Tayalisi and Ahmad ibn Hanbal is that there had to be a full isnad. Right? So you had to know the names of each person. You couldn't have simply so-and-so in there, or skip a generation. Okay. What's also important is that these are not what we call the Saheeh works. Right? So Ahmad ibn Hanbal has weak hadith in it, right? Or he has questionable hadith in it. Right? So they're not putting together collections that are purely authentic hadith. They're putting together collections that have the complete isnad and are acceptable to them at this basic level. And here is a narration from Prophet Muhammad ﷺ with a chain of narrators that we can trace and verify. Okay. And even with that, Ahmad ibn Hanbal has over 30,000 hadith that he's collected. Right. Now the problem with the musnad system is really two. The arrangement is very different because it's going by the individual Sahaba. So if you want to find out something just about praying Salatul Fajr, you have to read through the whole collection. Right? Did Abu Bakr say anything about it? Did Umar say anything about it? So it's a very difficult book to use if you want to get quick information about a particular topic. So the arrangement makes it difficult to use. And also, as I said, it's not 100% all authentic hadith. Right? Now, this leads us to the next phase in the hadith collection. And this is the beginnings of the verification, right, authentication of the hadith. Right? So here we have scholars, right, who are looking to verify that each narrator is trustworthy, pious, and has accurate memory. Right? And this is work being carried out by early scholars such as Shu'bah ibn al-Hajjaj, he died 160, 776. Abdul Rahman ibn Mahdi, he died 198, 813 to 14. Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Qattan, also dies the year 198 of the Hijrah. And Muhammad ibn Sa'ad, who dies in the year 230 or 845. So if you look at their dates, they're functioning or operating simultaneous with Imam Malik, Imam Shafi, right, and the others, right, Abu Dawud at-Tayalisi. But these scholars are more known, you might say, for focusing on authenticating the hadith, verifying the narrators in the chain of narration. Right? And this information that they're collecting is compiled into what we call the biographical dictionaries. Right? What's known as the tabakat in Arabic, the tabakat. Right? And this is collection of as a biographical dictionary, what you would assume, right? Individual people, and then as much information about these people is being collected. Right? Who are these people? What names did they have? Right? We know that in the Arab system you have different names. You could be known by your kunya, Abu so and so, so and so. You could be known, we call Bukhari Bukhari, but that's just simply what we call his nisbah. He's associated with the city of Bukhara. Right? But thousands of people are called al-Bukhari. Anybody who's from Bukhara could be called al-Bukhari. Right? So to know all their names, to know their genealogy, right? And any information, any biographical information. When did they live? Where did they live? Where did they travel? When were they in Baghdad? When were they in this city? When were they in that city? Who were their students? Okay, and so all of this has to be known. Right? Now, one of the most famous early Tabakat works is from Muhammad ibn Sa'ad, and this is called Kitab al-Tabakat al-Kabir. Right? And again, he's early 9th century, 3rd century of the Hijra, 9th century of the Common Era. But his Tabakat work has the biographies of 4,250 people. Right? And also very important, I mention from time to time, women were very much involved in all of this activity. So he includes about 600 women, right, who were great scholars, passing on this knowledge, doing this kind of work also. Right? But here you have 4,250 people, right, and with their full biographies, or as much as could be known about them. Right? And it's going to be these biographical dictionaries, these Tabakat works, that are going to form the basis of how do we know the reputation of any particular person. Right? And then you'll see all kinds of issues will come up. Right? Is he pious or not pious? Right? Is he known to have done things wrong or not? Is his memory very good or not? And then we get very detailed. Right? So, for example, we know that as people get older, they sometimes have memory problems. Right? And this is all going to be recorded. And they'll say, when so-and-so was young and he was teaching, he had a very strong memory, but as he got older, he started to forget things. So if a hadith is being passed on from so-and-so when he was a young man, it's an authentic hadith. But if you were learning from him in his older age, when he was forgetting things, it's no longer an authentic hadith. So you have to know who was the student, when did he meet the scholar, at what time period, what was his reputation, what problems was he having. So all kinds of things that get worked into it. So it's a very elaborate, very, very detailed study that goes into this. Right? It's not haphazard. Okay? The Bukhari puts together his Saheeh. He's not just throwing a bunch of hadith out and says, I like this one, I like that one. It's very tedious work. Right? A lifetime of work, years and years and years of studying and comparing notes and understanding, who are these people that are passing on the information. Right? So finally, this culminates in the famous scholars of the 3rd Islamic century, right, the 9th century of the Common Era, the famous works of the Sitta, right, the 6 authentic works, the 6 collections. Right? These names, again, probably are familiar to most people: Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawud, As-Sijistani, Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah, and An-Nasa'i. Now, what's also important about these works is that not only are they now authenticated, right, and by comparison, I said Imam Ahmad has over 30,000 hadith in his Musnad. Bukhari has less than 3,000 hadith. Some of them he uses more than once, so the number of actual reports goes up to, I think, over 7,000. But individual hadith that are less than 3,000, some like 2,700 or so. Right? So he has a very whittled down number. But these are what he is saying are authenticated. The isnad, the chain of narrators, the reputation of narrators, all been verified. Right? And so that he's presenting this as a Sahih collection. But also the other advantage of all these 6 collections is that they're arranged in what we call the Musannaf style, the Musannaf format. Which means, as anyone who's looked at Bukhari, It means it's arranged by topic. So he'll start with Kitab al-Iman, and then he goes, or Kitab al-Wahi, and then he goes to Kitab al-Iman, and the book of knowledge, and then he goes into the books on purification, wudu and other things, and then he goes into the book on prayer, and he goes through the 5 pillars, and he keeps moving through all these different topics. Right? He has over 90 different books, right, on all different topics. Right? And each book is broken down into smaller chapters. And so they're very, what we call user-friendly. You want to find something just about Salat al-Fajr, you could very quickly find it in any of those 6 books. And you can get all your information, authenticated hadith about Salat al-Fajr.
Did Imam Bukhari face any opposition because now he was going a different way of recording the hadith as to what those before him came with? I mean,
yeah, we'll get into more of this a little bit later on, but just in general, we today, we say, okay, Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, we say these are great. But at the time they wrote those collections, first of all, they were writing them basically for themselves, right? And maybe the small group of students around them. They didn't write these collections and then, overnight they were a big success. And everybody from, China to Morocco were saying, oh, Bukhari finally put together his collection, right? It takes over a century for Bukhari's collection to become well known throughout the Islamic Ummah. Right? It's everything's being passed on slowly. Right? You don't have printing presses, you don't have emails with file attachments, everything's done by hand. Somebody wants Bukhari's collection, he goes to Bukhara, he meets Imam Bukhari, and he sits and he hand writes the collection. Right? And reads it in front of Bukhari, and Bukhari affirms that he's reading it and writing it correctly. So it's a long, slow, tedious process. Okay? But yeah, there was issues that came up. People criticized him for some of the things he was doing. Right? Also, these collections, we call them hadith collections, but they're really books of fiqh. Right? Some people say Sahih Bukhari is Imam Bukhari's fiqh opinions. Right? And he gives a chapter heading, which is a fiqh opinion, and then he puts verse of the Quran or one or several hadith that support the opinion that he has. Which is another issue that, at this time period, 3rd Islamic century, we don't have the madhabs. Right? You don't have, all of a sudden, Hanafi madhab, and Maliki madhab, and Shafi madhab. Right? The madhabs are not organized. Right? The hadith collections are individual works that take time, at least a century goes by before we have a large majority of Muslims throughout the Ummah saying what Bukhari did is really exceptional, or what Muslim did is really exceptional, and that they begin to be used by the fuqaha, by scholars and others in that context. I think we reached the stopping point.